Alright, starting right into it. So we have now left Okayama and have moved on to Hiroshima. And within Hiroshima we actually just get right into the city, go straight to the hotel, check in, and then go to our first point because we actually started a little bit later than I was really wanting to. Meaning that I was going to have to cut out some things and that kind of sucked, but at the same time, this is the way of traveling, right? You have to be flexible. So we start right at the Peace Park here. I brought them straight from the hotel. It was an easy walk, very close to the memorial. And we were able to see the Peace Park as well as the atomic bomb dome, which is that famous building that the bomb exploded over. And it was there that we were able to see also the Aoi T-Bridge, which was the target for the bomb, and how close it was to actually making its target. It was, I think, about 200 meters short of where it was supposed to go, but that's neither here nor there. A short walk later, we were actually able to get to one of the places that I've probably been to the most in Japan, thinking about it for repeats or going over to the same place, is the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum. This museum is fantastic. It's super powerful. I feel that everybody should try to go there. I mean, a funny thing is that when people are telling me that they're only going to Japan for 2 weeks, I'm like, yeah, you know, if you're gonna go to Japan for 2 weeks, you should probably just hit up Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. Maybe Kobe because it's so close to Osaka, but Hiroshima's not one of those places that come up. I will push this though. If you're in the area, if you're going to that far west in Japan, as they like to put it, you should definitely be going to Hiroshima. You should definitely be going to this Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum. It's just, there's so much information there and there's so much to see from just walking through. When we were there, it was like literally they asked for a little donation before you entered. I think they just changed that over to where there's like a fee now, but the fee is some ridiculous low price, like 50 cents or something. I'll look it up and put it down below, but it's worth going and there's so much good things to see there. I mean, I say good, but it's really just the horrors of what nuclear war would do. You could walk through and there's so many different artifacts from the aftermath of the war. You can see them, like bottles broken. They still have radiated items there that you can use a Geiger counter to measure up against. And I would say the two really strong displays that stuck out and still stick out in my mind are, one, there's this one display of Hiroshima City, and they have, it's a miniature and you can see where the bomb actually exploded over the atomic bomb dome. That was actually one of those like crazy instances, because if you weren't aware, the bomb actually exploded about 500 meters above ground to maximize devastation, and it was something I didn't know until I went there the first time. It really gives you a scale of what the devastation of what one bomb could do. It was pretty intense. The other really powerful display that they had was this life-size model that you could walk through of the aftermath of the bomb. It was a city street that you could walk through, and it's pretty intense to see all this stuff, particularly when you're there. It was a real good place for information as well as just learning a bit more about something that we just kind of took for granted, at least here in America, in our history books, as, okay, we bombed Japan twice and that was it. Well, there's a lot more to that when you think about it. From that solemn note, let's move on to something a little bit brighter. After the museum, it was quite late at night, and there was something I saw on Japanese TV that like really struck me as something cool and that I wanted to go do, and it was to go eat Hiroshima-style okonomiyaki. Now, okonomiyaki is a dish throughout Japan. It's kind of like a Japanese pizza, I would like to put it. Some people say pancake, but pancakes aren't as savory, I would say. But there are different styles, and Hiroshima has its own style, and it's famous. And it's my favorite style of okonomiyaki. There is a place inside of Hiroshima called Okonomimura, which roughly translates to Okonomi Town. And that's what it was. It was just this place that was full of all these different stalls that you can go get okonomiyaki at. And the greatest thing is they cook it right in front of you. Now, the difference between Hiroshima style and kind of the rest of the country, I would say, is that their style looks more like a, if you want to call it, a crepe. So it's a very thin layer of the batter that they put on, and it's on top of noodles and vegetables and meat, and it's delicious. It's amazing. If you're in the area, I highly recommend going. We didn't know which stall to sit at, but it didn't really matter because they're all delicious, I'm sure. Another thing that we got while we were there were some barbecued oysters, which Hiroshima is known for oysters, and it was just overall a great meal. Now, right after the meal, we finished up and just called it a night, because during the next morning, we actually had this awesome thing I never knew existed. You could tour the Mazda Factory, which is based in Hiroshima, the place where they make Mazdas. You could tour their factory for free. They just ask that you make a reservation. Now, the reservation we had to place like a month in advance, so it does take some foresight or forethought into doing, but it's totally worth it. And unfortunately, they didn't really let you film too much inside the factory. They did let you film inside the entrance, which, I mean, there was like this video game that you could play that was like racing their cars. It was like Gran Turismo. And then they had a photo booth for you to take photos at with the Zoom moniker that they use. And then they had a few cars in the entryway as well for you to kind of check out while you're waiting for your tour to begin. Now, at the end of the tour, there was kind of this little museum part where you could actually film, and we got some film of the history as well as some models of their cars. Like there's a hydrogen model, I don't know if we got it or not, that will be coming out in Japan, or they're testing it, I should say, in Japan. And it was a really neat trip, and the best part was it's free, so all you had to do was reserve your spot. From there, we went to the Hiroshima Castle. And although this one isn't one of those famous castles that everybody's like, yeah, you should definitely go to, I will say that because we're going to all the other cities' castles, right? We went to Nagoya's castle, we went to Okayama's castle, might as well continue with Hiroshima's. But that being said, Hiroshima's castle was amazing. It's beautiful. It really is good looking, and the grounds that it sits on are huge. At the very entrance of the castle, there's actually a shrine on the castle grounds. And you can go through and kind of get like your good luck charms or have your fortune told. There's also a free part that you could walk through of the outer walls that kind of go into the walls to show you the defenses and what living at the castle would look like at those parts. And then for a small fee, like 350 yen I should say, you could go through and see all the different artifacts. And there was so much to do inside the castle. There was a section that you could wear like armor if you wanted to, samurai armor that is, and kind of do a little cosplay photo shoot type deal in that section. Or if you go up to the very top, they had like these binoculars so you could see the rest of the town. And the way they kept the Hiroshima Castle grounds, all the trees and everything, and the fact that it was autumn, or koyo in Japanese, it was gorgeous to look from the top. The view was great. And again, even though it's not like one of those highly recommended places in tour books to go when you're in Hiroshima, because there is a lot to do in Hiroshima, I understand, I would say if you're in the area, that's a definite bonus to go see. And you get a lot of history of the Hiroshima area way before any of the wars, way before any of that, of the modern day stuff. And that is kind of a cool thing to see for Hiroshima, why it's even called Hiroshima. After the castle, again, this was a quick trip. We actually just went back, grabbed our luggage, and then made our way to our next city, which is Fukuoka, or Kyushu. It's a different island, not on the Honshu main island anymore. And that was our main goal. We were trying to get to Kyushu. That was what I wanted to see more of. And so the next video here will be definitely a little longer, and you'll get to see a lot more of Fukuoka, which was an amazing city. But again, Hiroshima, highly recommend it, and I'll see you later on in the journey in Kyushu. Alright?